Tried to cool down hot oil in a chute, all ready to be emptied, with a nice big bucket of water. I heard Thomas know only to turn around and see a geyser of hot oil shooting towards the ceiling before it hit and splashed down around him. Nobody was hurt some fucking how. Often, with those I spend time around, I bring up how to never put out a grease fire, just in case. I work at a rock and soils lab, but you never know. The designer, creative director and head of production all missed that there was an 8-day week on a calendar. We sent 10,000 copies of a useless calendar to a client. Rightly so, they refused to pay for it. What day did your lad? Twom's Day? Fritter Day? Snow Day? I worked at a company with a shared inbox. One guy sent all of his emails with a distinct font and color. He was super untrustworthy and sucked at the job. One day he sent an email to a customer from the shared inbox, but put my signature on it to make it seem like it came from me instead of him. He left the font and color the same as all of his other emails. He didn't last long there after that. One of my first office jobs had a really old system for recording notes on customer accounts, such that it would stamp whoever last edited the account record as being the last person who contacted the customer for the purpose of reporting. I realized pretty quickly that my supervisor was going through and doing small edits on all my notes to pump up her numbers, making it look like I wasn't hitting my quota. She was later fired for some other drama and went on to go to jail for stealing from the bank where she worked. I worked as a radiation protection tech at a power plant that was refueling. My job was to sit outside of a contaminated area, and if anyone wanted to take something out of the area, tools, etc., I had to make sure it didn't have any radioactive particles on it. To do this, you wipe the tool with something like a tissue and then hold the tissue up to a machine called a frisker. If the needle on the frisker goes above a threshold, then the tool has to be cleaned or left in the area. One day I come back to relieve a guy who had been sitting outside the area for 2 hours. He tells me there's been no issues and everything has cleared. I look at the frisker, lean over and turn the machine on. So you're telling me Homer having his job in The Simpsons is plausible? Annual sales meeting. Brand new guy seated next to the CEO. He proceeds to put his head down and fall asleep on the table. During the meeting, they woke him up at lunch to fire him. I used to be stationed on an aircraft carrier, and the captain looked down on the flight deck and saw one of the flight deck people asleep in the deck edge nets during flight ops. I'm up on Vulture's Row, the observation area on the side of the island, when the PA system crackled to life. Get that son of a bitch by elevator 1 up to the bridge right now. Shut down a critical file server, then lied about it, even after he was presented with the logs that showed it was his user account that initiated the shutdown. It's not so much the mistake that he made, but it was when he lied about making the mistake that was a rookie move. I worked as a database tech once, and my boss was super upfront in training. If you f*** up, come tell me immediately. No matter how bad it is, come tell me, and I can try to help you fix it. But if you try to cover it up, you will fail. It will cause more and more problems until it breaks something important. All the data will be in the logs. I'll find out who fucked up, and I will, let me repeat this, I will throw you under the bus. So save yourself the trouble, and just tell me when you f*** up. Tried to retrieve his lighter from a deep fat fryer with his hands. Boy, was that fun to clean up. When I worked in restaurants, one of the cooks told me that another cook had dropped his watch into the fat fryer and instinctively plunged his hand into the fryer to retrieve it. New guy was dragging 2 8,000-pound rolls of paper through the warehouse. This is against the rules for good reason. Anyway, he drove through a door designed for one roll and drug the top roll through the wall. https://i.mga.com/j2ori76.jpg. At least the door is now suitable for 2 rolls. Poured sink cleaning solution into the ice cream machine instead of the cream mixture, and I had to stop them. They then said I'm sure it'll be fine. It was only a little. No, that would poison people. I had to clean out the whole machine top to bottom and refill it. I ended up throwing away nearly a whole bucket full of contaminated ice cream mixture. I would also like to add that the containers didn't look anything alike. The sink stuff came in big plastic jugs with screw tops and the ice cream comes in cardboard cartons, like orange juice, that you have to cut open. So I don't know how she could have possibly mixed the two up. Maybe she didn't. Took the wrong coffin to a funeral. Someone else had to drive to the cemetery with the correct deceased on board, and thankfully they made it before the viewing. You absolutely sure this isn't the guy? Absolutely. The office we worked in was shut down due to COVID and the company went 100% remote. A new senior engineer was hired to work directly with our product team and also manage a team of developers. During our company-wide weekly Zoom meeting, after he was done presenting for the company he turned his camera off, but forgot to put himself on mute. 100+ people heard this man playing Fortnite and talking down about the company to someone else in the background among other things. He only lasted a month. More like despite that, he lasted a whole month. My coworker at the bowling alley had to walk down a lane where a group of very young children, maybe 4 to 8 years old, were bowling to retrieve a ball that had stopped in the gutter about halfway down to the pins. When he had picked up the ball, my other coworker told him to go walk it back down to the children. However, this guy had it in his mind that it would be best to bowl it back down at the group of small children instead. Luckily, one of the adults with the children was a big muscular guy who was able to stop the ball and pick it up without anybody getting hurt. Edit, a typo. I'm both concerned for safety of the children and also laughing my off at this cartoonish scene I'm picturing. At a Petco, all the guinea pigs were in a big plexiglass enclosure with a center divider. Boys on one side and girls on the other. An employee decided that all the long-haired guinea pigs should be on one side and short-haired on the other. It took forever to sort them out and all the females were pregnant. This is why PetSmart runs its stores as boy/girl only for the whole store. Fuck-ups still happen, but not like this. I used to work for a landscaping company, and over the course of a summer I witnessed one of my co-workers accidentally set 3 different things on fire: a hedge trimmer, a truck, and himself. I did landscaping one summer. Saw a dude almost kill himself as he tried to take one of those automowers that you stand on and can do full 360 turns. Dude tried to take it from flat land up a hill that started at like a 45-degree angle. Whole thing flipped over and he dove out of the way before 1,000+ pounds of lawnmower took out his life. Was making pizza. Guy broke the pizza board, the thing with the handle you make the pizza on, and then slide the pizza into the oven. I found the other one, and he lost that. So I told him to make pizzas on one of the plastic cutting boards. He put the pizza into the oven on the board, and just left it. The board melted. No more pizza that day. How do you lose a pizza board? Those things aren't small. I worked in a veterinary hospital for a good number of years. One day, unknown to me, some little girl had found a dead/dying seagull with her family and brought it in to see if we could help it, but it has passed by the time they arrived. Our veterinary technician took said bird for disposal, but was too busy to deal with it then, like put it in the freezer. 1 minute tops with labeling, so instead he just packed a box with the dead bird into our storage area with dozens of similar boxes and just leaves it there. Days go by while he is still working, I should add, and I come back on shift and something is seriously rank in the office. Customers are complaining. No one knows what would cause it, but I eventually find the box buried beneath other supplies. I walk up to my head receptionist and say, "So, seagull," and watch the absolute fury grow in her eyes. The tech did not last long after that. TLDR. Vet tech was lazy, put a dead animal into a storage box, then left it to ripen for days, while continuing to work there until discovered. Dead bird, do not eat. One volunteer had no computer experience. We showed her step by step how to do her job. She didn't know what a mouse was, how to click on something, etc. We got her up and running. She was pleased with herself at having gotten the hang of using a PC. Fast forward 2 hours. Come back to the office and she's in tears. I swear I didn't do anything. There were just fish everywhere all of a sudden. Look at the computer. Aquarium screensaver. After her little breakdown, she had to take the rest of the afternoon off. I mean, she was telling the truth. She can't have been doing anything for the screensaver to come up. Lol. How long did she last? Worked in a machine shop. One of the lathe operators left the bar of cold rolled steel he was turning hanging out the back. When he turned the machine on, it literally deformed and turned into a freaking helicopter blade, ripped the back of the machine apart, and eventually flew off at high speed. Luckily no one got hit by it. If so, they'd be dead. Oof. I haven't run a lathe in some time, but I feel this one. Sleeves up, watch off, tie off, no jewelry, gear disengaged, no stock, key in my back pocket instead of the chuck, area clean and tidy. Okay, we are ready to go. Every time I powered up. Otherwise, yeah, dead or deformed. My cousin got his sleeve caught in a machine once. Super lucky one of the operators nearby hit the switch, and he got out of it. There was a guy who drove a forklift through a wall in the warehouse. We work in it. Edit. I didn't expect this comment to get as much attention as it did. It wasn't Michael Scott or Dwight. It really happened. It was a guy named Tom who was tasked with going to the storage area in the warehouse to get some laptops. When asked why he used the forklift, which he had never driven before, or was even authorized to touch, he said, "I thought it would help." Spoiler, it wouldn't have helped. He was fired immediately. LMAO, how TF did one of you end up on a forklift? Emptying hot fryer oil into a plastic container. Guess how that went? Well, this blew up. And yeah, it melted, went everywhere. What a pain to clean that was. Kid got fired. Same 5-gallon bucket. Fortunately I saw it coming and ran out of the kitchen. A few coworkers ended up with second-degree burns on their feet and the idiot had to have some toes amputated and skin grafts on his ankles. Another guy at the same job forgot to turn the fryers off before cleaning them and nearly set off the dry chemical, if not for a perfectly thrown sheet tray by the Grillex. It wasn't his first rodeo. New temp to hire admin. She was supposed to order lunch for a big meeting. They told her where to order from and how many omnivores, vegetarians, and vegans. She showed me the order she was going to place and I corrected her, pointing out she didn't have any vegan food or enough vegetarian. She told me I was wrong and ordered anyway, even with me screeching at her not to do it and explaining what was wrong. Omnivores got beef. Vegetarians got chicken. It's not meat. Vegans got salads with egg and cheese. But it has vegetables. She was not hired on full time. The worst part isn't that she didn't know this. It's that you tried to help her out and she refused. A new veterinary technician did a dog anal gland expression with her face directly behind the dog butt and got asterisk asterisk SPRAYED and the FACE asterisk asterisk. She threw up and had to go home early. When I was a tech one day our first part was irregular. I have no idea why, but on this day, holy hell, I got soaked, which you would think was by a super soaker. Of course the one day I didn't pack extra scrubs. Our vet could not stop laughing. I ran home and changed, but I don't know how none of us didn't puke. Putting all the patient's false teeth in a bowl together to soak on a dementia ward. Took us weeks to try and match patient to teeth. No, they weren't marked up with the patient's names. Doubt the right teeth ended up with the right patient. It was guesswork. I know I'm awful for laughing at this, but it reminds me of that time the Pope ordered all the dicks to be cut off the statues in Rome. Fast forward to a few centuries later, and a bunch of art historians were running around Rome with a box of dicks trying to restore them. Working in pharmacy, a pharmacist gave a customer a flu shot and threw the used syringe in the container with the new syringes instead of the container to dispose them. Another pharmacist went to grab a new syringe later on and ended up getting stabbed with the used syringe. Caused a total storm. I replaced a phlebotomist extern who was let go. The wall-mounted sharps in the processing room was full, so he took it down, put his hand over the opening, and shook it up and down to make room. I forget the number of sticks he had, but it was a lot.